Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen Spirit Source and Symphony, we take a look at the current energies, the astrological influences, we discern what the main themes are, and how we're to move forward in an ever-changing world, an ever-changing environment, and with absolute clarity, confidence, empowerment. And so we're right on at the top of the hour where we are really in. This has been 2023 astrologically, energetically, and so forth has been so powerful. And we are coming off of, the eclipse season. The first eclipses just occurred, but they reverberate out for a good 6 months until the next set appears. We have Mercury having just gone direct on Sunday. So there's a lot of powerful, and then there's a big T-square coming up. So I'm going to jump in with, at the top of the hour, I want to set the stage for the main theme. And that main theme, and while we're doing this, welcome, Kelly Marie. As you're joining, please put in the comments where you're joining from. Let me know, so that's our way of knowing. And then as things resonate, put your comments, your questions in, and we'll incorporate them throughout the broadcast. So at the top of the hour, because here's our main theme, and I just want to bring it up, time to choose. Abundance, alignment, advance. It's the power of choice. It's about know thyself. It's about knowing the choices you're making, because it's time to choose. And there's an element of the Two of Wands. And you can see on your screen all of these timepieces, and they're in these beautiful kind of vibrant rainbow-esque colors with this main theme, time to choose. And you're going to see why that theme is the theme, because it is about these astrological influences that we are interacting with. Welcome, Anne. And the choice, this time to choose, it's not, the choice has already been made, meaning your soul has really already chosen. So this time to choose is in reference to being very consciously aware of where you are, of the choices you are making, and that you do have a moment. You have this window of opportunity. It's very tight. It's very, because the change that's going to happen, the transformation that's going to happen, this is where your soul has already chosen. That is absolute. That is not in question. That is, quote unquote, not a choice. The choice is how I choose to experience, witness, walk through, go through what my soul said it would do, i.e., this change, this transformation. And thereby, I hope I'm making this clear. Put in the comments if I am, because it's a very fine thing. And you'll see we're going to jump into the astrological influences that are occurring that reinforce this moment of choice, this time to choose. Because it's like we say, life is a dance. Your soul chose to be at the dance. You're already at the dance. The only question is how you dance. Are you sitting, are you not on the dance floor? I mean, you're at the dance. Are you dancing? And if so, how? Are you sitting it out? Are you trying to avoid the dance? Are you worried about how you're going to be seen or what might happen? Are you resisting the dance? You don't want to be there. See, this is where the choice, this time to choose, this is where this element comes in. So let's move to, I'm going to start off, I'm going to share let me show you. I'm going to go with the astrological influences first so you can see what's happening and then we'll explain this. So up on the screen, and they talk about the astrological influences. The theme that came through was abundance realized. And remember, it's a 7-year. It's the foundation of God's promise. It's divine fulfillment, divine completion. What else do we have on here? Divine completion, fulfillment, perfection. This is what we're talking about. So here's the 7-year. Well, now here are the main energies. And, let me just change something really quickly here. I knew I forgot to do that. And I'm just going to switch these over. There we go. Now I'm back. So you can see, and bear with me, I apologize, there's going to be a couple of screens that are like this. Maybe I'm just going to get rid of them. Let's do that. Boom. Okay. Main energies. It's a 5-month. Nourished while waiting. Patience. So while we're going through what we're going through, remember that we're nourished as we're doing it and to have patience with ourselves and with others. 17. Today is the 17th. This 1-7. It's about following. Show by example. Lead by example. One of the other, the 1 and a 7 becomes an 8. An 8 is about uniting. Unite. Come together. So the whole point of this, of these energies, and they're very powerful and they're going to be playing out. So remember, the eclipses are playing out for like the next 6 months. These energies that we're going to come to, that we're going to talk about, are playing out for the next 10 days to 2 weeks. Very powerful. So it's about coming together, uniting, bringing the individual pieces of ourselves together and the whole of the whole together. 7, it's a 7-year. Army, legions, this correct discipline, acting with appropriateness, correctness, with discipline, respond, don't react, these type, proactive, not reactive, these types of energies. Then we have the 13, because the 5, the 1, and the 7 become a 13. It's about fellowship, socialize, how we interact with one another, how we connect with one another, collaborate with one another, these types of things. How we come, again, unity, uniting, fellowship, socialize. Then we have 20, and because all of it becomes a 20, the 5, the 17, and the 7 become a 20. And this is about that contemplation, a higher view, how we look at things. So hold that with all of these. These are all the energies. And then also the 20 becomes a 2. But this is going to be very interesting. You'll see in a second. 20, and then it becomes a 2. So, and the 2 is, of course, the receptive force, the divine feminine, how we reflect, how we intuitively go as guided. And this is how it ties back to this time to choose. We're already at the dance. The soul has chosen, in the sense of being at the dance, what the change is going to be, what the transformation will be. The choice is, how do I choose to experience, to convey, to demonstrate to others, to show by example my choices, my soul choices. That is up to us. And so let's move to, in this time to choose, I want to bring up I'm going to share my screen with you all here. And this is, I'm going to do an excerpt from Pam Youngin's North Point Journal. And it's beautiful, and I'll put it in the comments in the show. But it says, a perfect planetary storm. Over the next 10 days, we will be working with some powerful and life-changing planetary energies. A trio of planets, giant Jupiter is the great benefactor, wants us to have everything we said we wanted. Warrior Mars, it's the action, it's the divine masculine, it's the actionary planet. It is the way that we advance. And transformative Pluto, transformation. This and the underbelly, it's like bringing all of the things that we need to transmute, transform, bringing them to light so as to purify, cleanse. It's the Temperance card. These three mega giant planets are coming together, and they will be forming a fixed T-square. To visualize this configuration, imagine a giant letter T in the sky with Mars at one end of the crossbar, Pluto's at the other end, and then Jupiter sits at the base of the stem. In a T-square, there is a buildup of tension that seeks an outlet, some way for the pressure to be released. This is why some may act irrationally or impulsively under this influence. In general, we can feel stressed and off balance as the planets pull us in three different directions at once, as if we are the center of a three-way tug of war. So again, this is absolute. It's happening in fixed planets. Powerful planets in a square, in a T, a fixed T-square, which causes, and squares cause friction because they're an impetus, they're a force to move us forward, to break us free. And so, again, respond versus react. Proactive versus reactive. It's happening for me versus it's happening to me. So we're going to see this. We're going to feel it. Remember that it's for your highest good. Your soul has already said yes. Now the ego, mind, personality in the choice. And of course, what would we suggest? What does the unseen suggest? Go with the flow. Embrace the knowing, the internal knowing of what your soul said it would do. Know that, you'll feel it, you'll know it. It's not going to be mental, it's going to be a feeling, it's going to be a knowing. It is your intuitive guidance. She goes on to say, all three planets will be in fixed signs for the T-square. Jupiter is in Taurus, Earth, Pluto in Aquarius, air, and Mars in Leo, fire. So this configuration will test those areas in which we are immovable, rigid, willful, resistant to change, or overly attached to a specific form. The darker side of Jupiter is particularly highlighted since the great planet is at the apex, the base of the stem. Thus, we may observe intolerance, fixed opinions, self-righteousness, prejudice, or greed in the world. We will also want to monitor ourselves for any ways in which we express or are motivated by these shadow qualities. The effects of the T-square are already building, but are likely to be much more noticeable once Jupiter enters Taurus on May 16th. This was yesterday. After that, the energy moves like dominoes falling. The Jupiter-Pluto square perfects on May 17th. Mars enters Leo and opposes Pluto on May 20th, and Mars then exactly squares Jupiter on May 22nd. We can expect to feel this powerful influence throughout the rest of May. During these weeks, we will benefit by focusing on the higher intentions of this configuration, which is teaching us to be more flexible, open-minded, generous, and tolerant. So, this fixed T-square, and a couple of days ago, here are the words. What I saw with this time to choose and the Two of Wands, and the Two of Wands demonstrates a choice in paths, a choice in direction, a choice in the choices we make. And they were this time to choose and all the timepieces. And you notice, I'm going to bring up this image again for the main theme. Notice right here in the center, you see that 50, 55, the 45, all these fives. Fives denote change, transformation, change. the time of it. They equally represent like 55, great abundance. The fives also represent this kind of austerity, this abundance that's on offer. And remember, it's time to choose abundance, alignment, advance. So if you find yourself, because you're already at the dance, do not fool yourself by saying, I'm not at the dance. I can prevent this change, this transformation that my soul agreed to from occurring. Somehow I'm almighty. I'm all powerful. And you'll see how that's not true. Remember, we're the guest, not the host. And our soul, being a strand of the divine, a piece of the golden, the tapestry, the master weaver, we've already agreed to this. We already agreed to be here. And we agreed that we would experience this change and transformation, this advancement, this form of abundance, this divine fulfillment. That's set in stone. That's done. It's just how. How do we choose to embrace this? And so really, I'm going to say really, because you can see how, like I'm both excited and I'm really trying to hammer home. So bear with me. And I apologize. I don't mean to bang everybody over the head. The point is that I'm really trying to make sure that you all receive the message, the point, that we are at this time to choose, this apex moment of change, of transformation, and the choices we make, every single choice we make. Are we going with the flow? Because the three words that came, I heard wave, tsunami, avalanche. So proactive, respond, proactive, you're riding the wave. And imagine this beautiful, like swooping wave. Anybody who surfs, anybody who watches people surfing, you want to be riding the wave. Because what does it do? It delivers you. You have the euphoria and the high and the oneness, that feeling of being one with nature, this powerful force, and you're being delivered. You ride the wave in, and as it descends, as it lands, if you will, you don't crash and burn. It delivers you. It's like a plane landing. It's beautiful. Catch the wave at the wrong time, miss the wave, you can be pummeled by the wave. A tsunami wipes things out. It comes in and just wipes, it's like an Etch-a-Sketch. It just wipes the slate clear. An avalanche, it removes things. It covers things up, meaning it removes them. And so, and it shifts the balance. They're saying to me, it shifts the balance because it creates anew the landscape. And so this is where we want to be really mindful, because this is it. And it's how we interact. See, again, if our choices in this moment with the tsunami, around the world, we have tsunami warnings. And what do? You move to higher ground. And you're going to see this 20 and the number 2. The 20 and the 2. So it is about this, with a tsunami, you move to higher ground. Well, that's a choice. And it's higher. This is what this moment of energy is all about. Moving us to a higher state. Moving us to higher ground. An avalanche can be unexpected. They can be survived. You see this in snow. At times where people are rescued in an avalanche of snow. Okay, and yet the metaphor on avalanche is it's a complete wipeout. And so it's not a question of whether or not you're going to change or whether or not you're going to transform. That's not the question. The question is, how are you going to heed the message? How are you going to heed the call? Are you going to go with the flow? Are you going to move to higher ground? Are you going to align yourself with abundance? I did a post where it said, change realigns me with abundance, because it's lifting us. The old ways are over. It's lifting us to higher ground. So welcome, Colleen. And let me just bring in some of your comments. Kelly Marie is saying, hand, purple, blue, peace. And she's talking about dancing fluidly. Exactly. Respond, respond, respond. Yes, alignment. Hold on. Here we go. Exactly. And then, and also we need to be reminded. Yes, there's this point of us being really mindful at this point in time. And that's why I'm kind of amped up a little bit here, is because it's fascinating to me how they show us, and it's in alignment with the astrological energies. And so let me just bring up the astrological influences here. So on 5/14, Mercury stations direct. That was on Sunday. Yesterday on 5/16, Jupiter enters Taurus. It's at 0 degrees. And let me just bring up the Sabian symbol. I'm gonna tell you. So Jupiter at 0 degrees is 1 degree Taurus. A clear mountain stream, the pure, uncontained, and spontaneous manifestation of one's own nature. And it says, here we see life substance in its original dynamic form and as it emerged from its spiritual source. This is true, whatever the nature of the source may be. In a sense, the mountain stream is conditioned by the nature of the soil and by all the forces which in the past have formed the mountain's rock strata. That is to say, by past history. So here we are, this energy. What are we comprised of? Because this is what we're going to experience. It's our rock strata. It's what has comprised this. And the purity of the water, the purity of what comes through, is being processed through this strata, this soil. Yet out of this past, a new, pure, unadulterated release of potentiality has emerged. It is ready to perform whatever work its dharma is to accomplish. So see, it's saying whatever the soul said it would do. Here we are. We've had up until this point. We've lived this. From this past, a new, pure, unadulterated release of potentiality emerges. It is ready to perform whatever work its dharma is to accomplish. So it's saying, here's a new beginning. Here, the new of us is going to come through, because it's already decided that we're going to do that. The question, the time to choose, the question is, how do I decide to do that? Am I in the flow? Am I going with the flow? Am I riding the wave? Am I proactive or reactive? Am I responding? Am I trying to delay? Am I clinging to the past? Am I afraid? Am I terrified of the change? But there's such a beauty of what it's pure. What comes after, what comes from this moment, from this change and transformation, is pure. Because it's already made its way through all of the prior experiences, like the water coming through the strata of the mountain, through the soils and so forth. And it talks about the fact matter, meaning, you know what I'm saying, matter, is still imbued with great potential energy. Energy being matter at its source. It is flowing irresistibly toward its own destiny. It is simply its own nature. So this is where the beauty of who you are, your soul essence, who you are as a soul, not this ego, mind, personality, not all the things that we've been talking about that we're unlayering, that we're the temperance card, we're letting it all be refined. It's the water going through the rock strata. You have, when you have the water pitchers and everything, they have the different filters that filter out the impurities so that the water that you actually consume from that vessel is pure. This is the same analogy. And so it's to realize, up until now, we've gone, everything that's come before is what it is. It's purposeful, it was powerful, empowering, and yet there's this moment of change and transformation and the brilliance of that, because what's going to come through is pure. Colleen is saying, so during a tsunami in your life, you need to move higher to your higher power and grow. Exactly. It is to heed the call, heed the warning, heed the awareness, because that's a choice. It's a choice to heed the call. It's a choice to ignore it. That is this time, this moment. And exactly, Colleen is saying, I am there now. It's all choice. And so let's look at this 20/2, because these powerful numbers, I'm going to bring it up on the screen. You see a golden apple behind the numbers, and you see an owl, both denoting wisdom. I mean, eternal wisdom. This purity, they're saying to me, the purity in the making. Each choice you make continues, advances the purity, the wisdom of your being. So let's look at the numbers. 5, about change, also about great abundance. This 17, this follow, be led, we're the guest, not the host. Listen to your soul. Go as your soul guides you. Do not, to the best of your ability, do not allow your ego, mind, personality to override the wisdom, the eternal wisdom of your soul. Then the 2023, which becomes a 7, and this legions, army, correct discipline. It's that knowing that we have everything. We have everything we need. It is always within us. There is nothing outside of us. There is nothing dependent upon another. If you're to advance and someone else doesn't want to advance, advance. Move forward. Go as guided. Allow the other their soul's journey. Because what's indicative here in this 20/2, the 20/2, what they said to me is, it was number 3, and they said, Christ consciousness. And Christ comes from Christos. It means anointed one or chosen one, which denotes that choice is involved. And they said, all roads lead to Rome. And this is a very old idiom, an old saying. And what they're saying here, and it's number 3C. And so what they're saying here is it's 3, the Trinity. It's whole and complete. All roads lead to Rome. All roads lead back to this Christ consciousness, to this anointed one, the chosen one. What is at choice? So that's not up for discussion. That's not up for debate. That's not the choice. That choice has been made. That's been decided. What's yet within our will, our free will, is, again, which path? Are we taking the 20? Because look at the 20. The 20 is the 2. It is the divine feminine. And remember, this is all about returning to the divine feminine, returning to matriarchal rule, to the harmony, the balance, the goodness, the opportunity, the abundance, the empowerment of that force, of that energy. With 0, with source, together with, and this also denotes new beginning, a new way. Or is it and it's higher ground, right? Higher wisdom, higher, more. Or is it the 2 on its own, a shadow element, a shadow way, a shadow choice? Is it the path of the shadow? And this is number 2, to be, as in boy. They said, the path of righteousness versus the path of evil, darkness, destruction, that which ends, with an exclamation point. The quality, and righteousness means the quality of being morally right or justifiable. It's talking about our goodness. It's talking about our light. It is talking about what is morally and justifiably right, correct, good. So here's this, and the owl, this all-seeing owl. It is the raptor that can see 360 and can see at night, can see through the shadow. In some cultures, it's an omen of someone passing, death. However, it's also mystical, magical, associated with source, with the highest of the high, like the eagle. And so it takes on this sense of being all-knowing. You can see in the face of this owl, do you see this outer outline in just kind of a pale tan color that looks like a heart? You see this on the face of the owl. And then the golden apple, this wisdom, eternal wisdom, tree of life. So these aspects are at play here. And you can see the question before you is, am I taking the path of righteousness? Am I at the accepting the 20 level? Am I operating? Is every choice that I'm going to make from here on out, am I choosing that path? Or am I choosing the shadow path, the path of evil, darkness, destruction, resentment? Pick any, when I say negative, meaning adjective, a shadow element. Am I fearful? Am I acting in rage, resentment, anger? Am I trying to keep something from advancing? And of course, it's futile. It's futile. This came from, and they added this in, and this came from an exchange that I had with one of the members of the Soul family. And it's number 4D, and I'm going to bring it in now because it said, what was discussed was all the king's men, all the king's horses. And that statement comes from the nursery rhyme, Humpty Dumpty. And the meaning behind it was the fact that, and look at in terms of how in Exodus, Pharaoh, the king is not all powerful. Men are not all powerful. Source is. Original intelligence is. It's OI versus AI, original intelligence versus artificial intelligence. And it's to recognize that which flows through you, through your veins. And they made a point, like what's coursing through us, through our veins, through our being, through our essence. What is our example? And that's a choice. We choose what our example is. We choose, and they're saying, recognize that which flows through you. The master weaver, the host, the great spirit, this unseen, original intelligence, wisdom, that's what's flowing through us. When we create something, when we master something, when we offer something, it isn't us. There's a reason, in my own personal experience, there's a reason there's a James and a Dearjames. That delineation is to say James is the 3D human. Dearjames is what comes through. It is not me. It is not James, the human. I listen to the unseen, and it's what comes through. That's no different You're an extraordinary attorney. You're an upholsterer. You're an artist. You're a singer, a performer. You're a nurse, a doctor, a practitioner. That is the gift of what flows through your veins. It is the gift of what comes through us. And do we recognize that? Are we in alignment with that truth? With that renewal? And how is that playing out in our individual lives? Do we see this truth at play in our lives, present in our lives? Or do we still think it's us? Do we still think that we are almighty? Because Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Humpty Dumpty, all of the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Because the king's men and the king's horses are not all powerful. Source is. Master Weaver, host. That's the point of this. And it's how we align with that, the purity, the power, the force of that empowers us, that demonstrates our example. That is this moment. And here is this beautiful image. It is from it's the Gilded Tarot Royale. It's illustrated by Cyril Marchetti. It's published by Llewellyn. It's a copyright. It's the Two of Wands. And let me just get rid of this. There we go. And you see in this beautiful image, these two wands. So here you are, here's the Fool on the journey. And they come, he, she, they come before this path, this choice. The Two of Wands denotes, and you can see the path right where the white stag, the deer, right at the apex of that point, the path splits. Left, right. And you notice that the left path kind of goes off, it goes off to the left, and it's darker on that side of the card. It goes kind of obscured, and you can't see where it is, and yet the right path, the one where the deer is literally, the body of the deer is literally ready to traverse the right path. That path, you see, it goes out into this beautiful, the forest and the valley beyond and the mountains, and you see the sun radiating and everything. And the mountains denoting a higher choice, a higher path, a higher purpose, a higher value. You can see it. And this white stag is like the white dog on the Fool card in the tarot. Except here's the preeminence. The white stag represents source. The white stag represents soul, true north, original intelligence, God positioning system, like a global satellite. There it is saying, walk this way, go this way. And it's really pretty simple, right? I mean, when we stop and think about it, this is simple. It's simply a choice. Do we believe this to be the case? Or do we believe that our soul and original intelligence and source, this path of righteousness, will lead us to extraordinary places? And thereby we choose to listen to it, align with it, surrender to it, go with the flow with it, ride the wave? Or do we think, Humpty Dumpty, that we are all powerful, we are all knowing? I, the ego mind personality, knows better, knows more. And thereby I'm going to resist. I'm not going to go with the flow. I didn't agree to this transformation or change. I want it the way it was. I'm going to keep it the way it was. Well, this fixed T-square, because remember, the change and the transformation is not up for debate. The soul has already agreed. So we've talked about the cosmic 2x4 before, where we think we can delay, negotiate, strong arm, challenge, source, higher hand, host. You'll only do it once. I only did it once. And you get the cosmic 2x4 that just says, oh, is that what you want to do? Okay. Wham! Because your soul already agreed to it. So you're not in alignment. You don't want to be in alignment. And it's not like they don't give us warning. They do. There's caution. There's yellow flashing lights. There's awareness. There's sign, symbol, knowing after knowing after knowing. And then it's just like, no, we're ignoring it. No, I know what that is, and I don't want to do it. No, I know it. No. And you get the flashing caution yellows like, hello, hi, pay attention, wake up. And then all of a sudden comes the, okay, we're getting to the red part, and you can feel it, and it's getting louder. It's not going away. Oh, you still don't want to do it? Okay. Wham! And it just knocks you. So wave, tsunami, avalanche. When you're in the know, you're in the know. It's the choice. What are the choices? What are the choices that I'm making to move myself, to align myself with my soul and source, spirit, source, and symphony, original intelligence, path of righteousness, because it's for me. And then how do I, and then I move that way. I take step by step by step, and I keep aligning, and I keep moving in that way. I keep listening and aligning, because the change realigns me with abundance. The transformation realigns me with abundance. It's going to realign you with something greater, something more, even and especially when you can't see it. You may not be able to see down and around the corner. However, what you will have inside of you is a knowing, a truth. A knowing can tell you an entire story in a nanosecond, because it's a knowing. It might be a flash, it might be a word, it might be synchronicities. However, the point is, main theme, time to choose. It's time to choose. In that sense, it's like we're out of time. How you show up matters, and it matters greatly, because it is going to set the tone for your experience. It is going to set the tone for what you, the example you set and demonstrate to yourself. Primarily, first and foremost, it is the example you set with yourself. And by doing that, it ripples out. It's outward. It ripples out. So imagine, hey, I'm clinging. I'm on the happy, get smacked by the cosmic 2x4 train. That's the example you're demonstrating to yourself. And it is the one that is rippling out, being seen by others. Equally, you're demonstrating your trust, your faith, your listening, your intuitive knowing, your going as guided. You are open. You're one with change, because it's constantly evolving you, moving you, inspiring you. It's the temperance card. It's that mold, that pounding and forging and reshaping and polishing for a greater purpose, for a higher vantage point, for a clearer, more pure view, vessel, being. That ripples out. That is seen by others. That can inspire others. How are you doing that? Wow. Or that great Meg, I don't mean to, but I'll have what she's having. It's like, because that ripples out. It's palpable. Here's our mantra. Change realigns me with abundance. Just keep saying that to yourself over and over and over again. Each time something is presented in the course of these next weeks and so forth, change realigns me with abundance. When it's terrifying, say it to yourself. It'll be in the show thread. But just keep saying to yourself, change realigns me with abundance. And it becomes, because it's a story. Remember, we're rewriting the scripts and the stories and the identities and the labels and everything. We're laying all those down like the rock strata, the water coming through the rock strata. We're laying them all down so that what emerges is of a higher quality. The truth. Pure. And so this change realigns me with abundance is to say to myself, I know that to be true. I only know what I know. I often say that, the source gave me, you know what you know until you know. And that means we know what we know until something new is presented to us, some form of change that expands us, realigns us. Why? For greater experience, greater abundance, greater advancement, greater transformation. Pure and simple. Because that is the purity of source, of divinity. There is no shadow aspect to the purity of source. It's pure. It only wants the highest and best for us. So I want to bring up two quotes. One is, a true perspective becomes the foundation upon which to build a new approach to life. This is by Dane Rudhyar with the SABIAN symbols. A true perspective becomes the foundation upon which to build a new approach to life. See, it's about the truth, not a truth, a truth, a true perspective. It means and that's the foundation upon which we're building a new life, a new approach to life. So we're willing to lay down all the old, all that stuff the water is having to go through to exit the earth, the mountain, so as to be pure. It's the water that goes through the filter, that example. And lastly, there's another quote here that says, we can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. This was a quote by Plato. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. Don't be afraid of your soul. Don't be afraid of change, of transformation. Don't be afraid of source, of a higher hand, the host, the master weaver. It is the one relationship we come into life with. It is the one relationship we leave life with. The one soul source connection, the one with the host, the master weaver. That is the relationship we come in and exit with. And it's the one we experience. It's the one constant. Doesn't mean it doesn't change, meaning, that change doesn't occur, but it's the one constant in our lives. Is this soul source host-guest relationship. It's internal. It's whole and complete. It's all-encompassing. And anything outside of that is extra. Meaning our external relationships, people, places, things, that's external. That's in addition to. First and foremost is the one we have with ourselves, soul source connection. So, number 5, they said, transformation, metamorphosis, change. And meta means after, beyond. So we are moving into an experience that is after and beyond what we know, what we've already experienced. Morph means to change the form or character of. And they are saying to us, the soul agreed to this change, to this transformation, to this metamorphosis. So the only question up for debate is, how are you going to walk through that? How are we going to do that? Each individual one of us. How are we going to do that? Because it is a change to the form or character of something. The form and the character of the water changes. There's I believe he's Japanese. I'm messing up his name. But it's that beautiful thing where he did scientific studies with water, measured the purity of the water, the principles that were present in the water, and then put positive words on one sample, negative words on the other, and then retested the water after a period of X amount of hours, days, and thereby demonstrated the change of the properties of the water. Water that was pure with negative words became impure. Impure water with positive words became purified. That's the power of the unseen. That is the power of the force. And that is us. I mean, we are water. Look how much of our bodies are comprised of water. This is a truth that would apply to us. The more positive, the more path of righteousness, the more we align with that truth, the more pure we become. And so, lastly, I want to talk to you all about. I'm just bringing this out and down. The two hexagrams. So we have 17, and it's following, show by example. Its hidden influence is development, flower, big flower behind me. Its underlining cause, 18, decay, repairing what's spoiled. It's to remedy it. And it says, when you return from the darkness with gold, others will naturally follow. So again, this is our example, rippling out. And this comes from Carrie Hone at cafeausoul.com. So it's simply to remember 17, it is a powerful number. It is a powerful hexagram. It is about following your soul source connection. It is about following, going as guided, following source, your knowing, your intuition, your gut, however you want to label it. It is that knowing, that flash. It is not ego, mind, personality, ego, mind, chatter. It's not that. It's the one that's internal. It's knowing. And it's to follow that. It is to be in alignment. I'm going to bring back up again just the Two of Wands, the choice. It is to follow the white stag. This path, not that one. That left path will lead you astray. The right path is the path of righteousness. This morally right and justifiable path. This higher path that goes on and on and on. Very important. Last but not least is hexagram. Let me see. I believe it's 20 that I have up here. Hexagram 2, because it's the receptive. It's the divine feminine. And it's to reflect. Hexagram 20 is the receptive. It's to reflect. I'm sorry, that's 2. 20 is the contemplation, the overview, this higher overview. So here in hexagram 2, it's literally talking about the hidden influence is itself. It's the receptive, reflect. Its hidden influence is itself, receptive, yield. So this is telling us to yield to your inner knowing. Yield to the receptive force, the divine feminine. This knowing, because it's innate. And masculine, feminine, it does not, gender neutral, it doesn't matter. We are comprised of all. Divine masculine, divine feminine, Holy Spirit, we are comprised of all. And thereby, it is to listen to that knowing. Mothers will always say, I just knew. It was just my gut, or it was my intuition, or my knowing. And women resonate with this and connect with it more because, of course, predominantly as women, the divine feminine is in percentages is more present. It's prevalent. And then there's a lesser percentage that has more of a divine masculine aspect in the female form. The same can be true in the reverse of the masculine. Greater percentage, divine masculine, Mars, masculine, fire, mind, how I act, how I execute. And a lesser percentage where they connect with their divine feminine, their emotions, their feelings, this type of thing. That's where all of this is playing out. And then its underlining cause is one, creative, initiate. So the creative force, raw energy, the divine masculine. So contained the beauty of hexagram 2 and the receptive force, the divine feminine, is that the creative, the divine masculine, to initiate, is one with it. It's incorporated with it. And that's an interesting, of course, that would make sense, right? Because it says, and this is true in the reverse, because it says from the rib of Adam comes Eve. Well, that would mean, in order for that to, so that means that from the rib of Adam, the divine masculine, the divine feminine, so they're one with each other. In reverse, it's the same. Because in other words, how could you have ever taken Eve from the rib if the divine feminine aspect wasn't already a part of the divine masculine? In that analogy, it was separated from, pulled, but it means that both then have the other. And this is where 7, that army's legion, you have everything you need. It's to utilize it with correct discipline, in the correct way. The last thing they said, and this is just such a good thing, they said, the wait is over. The mystery solved. Advance is at hand. And when they said the wait is over, there was an emphasis on is, and they underlined it. The mystery solved. Advance is, and they did it again, emphasis on is, and underlined at hand. So, time to choose. It is time to choose how you are going to work with these energies, how you are going to change and transform. Not that you will change and transform. That's already been decided. That's a done deal. That's a fait accompli. It's simply the how. So, and it's exciting because look, I mean, these clocks, they're vibrant, they're multicolored, it's rainbow-esque, they have just such a beautiful, and it's all about abundance, alignment, advance. That's what this change and transformation is all about. So, as you all move through these next 2 weeks and everything, and remember that it's rippling out. These energies are going to ripple out. However, Jupiter, and there's a new moon. Sorry, let me just bring up one last thing before we jump off, mindful of the hour. It is that on the 19th, I think it's on Sunday, this coming up Sunday, we have the new moon. It's in Taurus. It's at 28 degrees, so that means it's 29 on the Sabian symbols with Dane Ruddier. And it says, 2 cobblers working at a table, the twofold character of man's nature, understanding. And what this talks about, it says it reveals symbolically the way in which a mature individual mind works. Mature individual mind works in an attempt to gain perspective. A true perspective, and this is where that quote comes from, a true perspective becomes the foundation upon which to build a new approach to life. So this is where a mature individual mind healthy ego mind personality works in an attempt to gain perspective, true perspective. So this is where how the choices we make, how we decide, we're at the dance, how do we dance? Which path, 2 of Wands, which path do we take? 20 or 2? Just going to bring that up one last time. Because what's on offer, to be very clear, what's on offer? Very auspicious numbers, very auspicious offering. What's on offer with this transformative change? Golden apple, eternal wisdom and knowledge. Owl, all-seeing, can see everything. Wisdom. If there's a word, it's wisdom, wisdom, wisdom. Yes, endless essences. Thank you. Dr. Emoto is exactly who that is. Thank you for putting that in about the water and testing the waters and everything. And thank you, Alicia, for this link. And also, Lorna is saying she's sorry to miss everybody, but she'll be watching later. So it's just to leave you all with this knowing, and hopefully this very impassioned inspiration. Choose the higher path. Choose the path of righteousness. Choose the 20, because this, which is contemplation overview, choose this. Choose the right path on the 2 of Wands. Choose these things and know, absolutely be clear with yourself that that is exactly what's on offer. It's exactly what's at stake, and it will set the tone for your experiences, for what's to come. No need for a cosmic 2x4. All right. So with all that said, thank you all so much for your comments, your participation, your presence, and for allowing me to express this in this very impassioned way. I care about you all deeply. I care about us, the whole of the whole. And I love and adore all of you. And I just thank you for the honor and the privilege of being able to do this. So thank you all so much. What's it going to be? The 24th. So next Wednesday, the 24th, we will see what's on offer. And just know, I'll place a lot of these things in the links in the show on Facebook, so that you are able to see them and learn more about them, and then go forth as guided. See you next week.